Marcus Webb is standing in the parking lot of the distribution center, staring at a text from HR that just landed. Raise approved, effective this Friday. Third one in 5 years. He should feel like he's winning. Instead, he feels the same tight knot in his chest he's had since the first raise. More money hit the account, and somehow the account still empties by the 20th of every month. Here's the question this book actually wants to answer, and it's a fair one. Why doesn't earning more ever seem to translate into getting ahead? Marcus is about to become our test case, whether he likes it or not. Let's rewind a few years. Raise number 1 bought a bigger house, nicer school district, his wife loved it, made total sense at the time. Raise number 2 bought a newer car, because the old one was costing too much in repairs. Raise number 3 just landed, and somehow it's already spoken for. Daycare went up, the card he swore he'd pay off is maxed again, and the mortgage on that dream house eats a bigger bite than his rent ever did. On paper, Marcus makes more than both his parents ever did combined. And yet he's got less breathing room than they had. That gap between income going up and freedom going up is the whole book in one sentence. Robert Kiyosaki's argument, the one this whole book hangs on, is that Marcus isn't bad with money because he's undisciplined. He's bad with money because nobody ever taught him what money actually is. School taught him to read, taught him algebra, taught him to get a good job and work hard for a paycheck. Nobody sat him down and explained the difference between an asset and a liability, the actual mechanics of the thing he spends his entire life chasing. And I'll give the book this much credit right out of the gate. That observation is dead accurate. Financial literacy genuinely is not taught in most schools, and Marcus is proof of what that gap costs a person over a decade. But here's where I already want to push back a little. The book frames this like a clean, simple secret nobody told you. In real life, it's messier. Marcus wasn't just uneducated about money, he was actively sold on bigger house, bigger car as the definition of making it. That's a wrinkle Kiyosaki glosses over more than he should. But the core diagnosis still lands. Marcus has spent 5 years working harder for money, and exactly 0 years learning how to make money work for him. So the raise changed his lifestyle. It didn't change his position. He's still standing in that same parking lot, same lanyard, same stack of bills, just with a fancier zip code attached to the stress. What Marcus is missing isn't hustle. He's got plenty of that. What he's missing is a completely different way of thinking about money, the one his boss's boss learned somewhere Marcus never got invited to. And that's exactly where this book claims it can take him next. 2 weeks after that raise landed and vanished, Marcus is lying in bed at 1 a.m., staring at the ceiling, and he's got 2 voices arguing in his head like a bad radio signal. Voice 1 is his real father, the guy who worked 31 years at the same company, punched the same clock, and told Marcus exactly one thing his whole childhood. Go to school, get good grades, land a stable job with benefits. That's not an insult, by the way, that was good advice in 1985. It just never came with a follow-up chapter on what to do once you had the job. Voice 2 belongs to a guy who lived 2 houses down when Marcus was a kid. A neighbor who never seemed to leave for work, drove a decent car, and once told 9-year-old Marcus that his money was out working while he was home mowing the lawn. This is Kiyosaki's whole engine. 2 father figures, 2 philosophies, fighting for the same kid's brain. One says trade hours for a paycheck. The other says make the paycheck buy you things that make more paychecks. And here's the part Marcus never clocked until right now, lying in the dark. He only ever listened to one of those voices. He took the job. He took the raise. He never once asked what his money was doing while he slept. Rich Dad's whole pitch, in Kiyosaki's telling, boils down to one distinction. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take money out, and most people can't tell the difference because nobody ever taught them the difference. Marcus's house? Liability. His car payment? Liability. That badge and lanyard job he's so proud of? Also, technically, an asset that belongs to the company, not to him. Now, let me be straight with you because that's the job here. This 2-dad story is a fantastic teaching device. It's also completely unverified. Kiyosaki has never produced this neighbor. No name, no records, nothing. Critics have hunted for decades and found nothing solid. And honestly, it doesn't matter. Fables don't need a deed and a driver's license to teach a lesson. Aesop's tortoise never filed taxes either. Judge the idea, not the paperwork. What the fable does brilliantly is give you permission to think two ways about the exact same dollar. Marcus never had that. Nobody ever sat him down and said, money can work for you. He just absorbed go earn more money and stopped there. That's who this chapter of the book actually helps. Not the guy already reading balance sheets for fun, but the guy like Marcus who's never once been told there's a second way to think about a paycheck. For him, this cheesy little fable is a genuine crack of light. So Marcus finally has a question worth asking, even if he doesn't like the answer yet. Which dad has he actually been listening to his whole life? And what would it even look like to listen to the other one for once? So Marcus does something most people never actually do. He grabs the back of a pizza box, draws a line down the middle, and writes assets on one side and liabilities on the other. The exact test the book lays out. The book's definition is almost insultingly simple. An asset puts money in your pocket every month. A liability takes money out. That's it. No jargon, no spreadsheet degree required. First thing Marcus writes on the asset side, out of pure habit, is my house. Everybody's told him that for years, biggest asset you'll ever own. Then he actually runs the test on it. Mortgage payment, property tax, insurance, the roof repair he's still paying off. Money leaving every single month, and none coming back in. So he crosses it out and moves it to the other column. By the book's own rule, his house isn't an asset. It's a liability wearing a nicer word. Next up, the SUV in the driveway, the one he leases, the one that makes him feel like he's arrived. Lease payment, insurance, gas, and it's worth less the second he drives it off the lot. That one hurts more because Marcus picked that lease specifically to look successful. Turns out looking successful and being financially secure are running in opposite directions on his own piece of cardboard. When he's done, the liabilities column is packed house, car, credit card balance, the furniture he financed. The assets column has basically nothing in it. Not because Marcus is lazy or stupid, because nobody ever taught him the difference. And that's the whole rat race right there in his own handwriting. His paycheck comes in, and instead of buying anything that pays him back, it just refuels things that quietly drain him every month forever. Now here's my honest take, and I don't say this often. This is the single best idea in the whole book. Not the fables about rich dad and poor dad, not the parables. This: define an asset by what it does to your cash flow, not by how it feels to own it. It's simple, it's correctly stated, and it's the kind of test you can run on your own life in about 10 minutes, which Marcus just proved. Genuinely worth the price of the book on its own. Where it gets a little too tidy is real estate. A paid-off house or one with a rental suite genuinely can behave like an asset, and the book sometimes waves that nuance away for a cleaner story. Still, the core rule holds up, and that's rare for a personal finance book. Marcus doesn't fix anything tonight. He just sits there staring at a column that's basically empty, finally seeing clearly for the first time what his money's actually been doing to him. Marcus decides he's had it. No more excuses, he's gonna save his way to freedom, starting Monday. First to go, the daily coffee run. He starts brewing his own at home, feeling smug about the $4 a day he's suddenly not spending. Next, the car. He trades down to something older, uglier, and paid off, patting himself on the back for finally living below his means. 3 months later, he checks his savings account, expecting a small miracle. Instead, he finds almost nothing changed. Here's the trap the book calls the rat race. Cut expenses and life quietly finds new ones to fill the gap. A subscription here, a bigger apartment there, a we deserve this dinner out. Marcus realizes his last raise didn't sit in his account long. It went straight into a slightly nicer lease, a slightly bigger cable package, things that felt like upgrades but were really just new leaks in the same bucket. And this is where I have to give the book real credit. This diagnosis is dead on. Lifestyle creep eating raises alive isn't some fringe theory. It's basically confirmed behavior, and Kiyosaki names it clean and simple, decades before anyone made memes about it. But then Marcus asks the obvious next question. Okay, I see the trap, so how exactly do I climb out of it? And that's where the book goes strangely quiet. It tells him to buy assets instead of liabilities, sure, but it never quite explains, in Marcus's world, on Marcus's paycheck, what that actually looks like on a Tuesday afternoon with $300 in his checking account. This is my honest gripe with the book. It's brilliant at naming the cage and lazy at drawing the map out of it. Motivation without mechanics is just a really good pep talk. Marcus doesn't quit trying. He just realizes cutting lattes was never going to be the move. The real fight isn't with his spending habits. It's with the size of the income stream itself. For guys like Marcus, steady paycheck, decent job, no real investing background, this chapter of the book is half a gift and half a tease. It wakes you up to the trap, then leaves you standing at the door wondering where the key is. So Marcus starts digging past the book itself, looking for the part nobody wrote down. The actual first asset a regular guy with a badge lanyard and a stack of bills could realistically buy. So Marcus is standing in the rat race, finally seeing the wheel for what it is. And here's the thing about seeing a trap clearly, it doesn't get you out of it. Only moving does. So Marcus does something he's never done. He goes looking for a way to buy something instead of a way to spend something. He starts scrolling listings at night instead of scrolling his bank app in dread. Not mansions, duplexes, ugly ones. Rich Dad, Poor Dad's whole pitch here is simple. Stop buying liabilities that bleed you dry, start buying assets that feed you. And I'll give the book this, that reframe is genuinely useful. Most people have never once asked, does this put money in my pocket or take it out? But Marcus hits a wall fast. He's got decent income, terrible savings, and a credit score that's seen better decades. Turns out, just buy an asset requires something the book barely dwells on, actual capital. A down payment. A lender who trusts you. So Marcus does what a lot of first-time real estate people actually have to do, that the book treats as a footnote. He finds a partner. A guy from his gym with better credit and some actual savings, willing to split the risk 50-50. Two ugly credit histories don't make one good one, but two incomes and two down payments, that gets you in the door. They find it a genuinely ugly duplex. Peeling paint, a roof that's maybe got 5 good years left, a tenant already living in one half who's 3 months behind on rent. Not the glossy flip house fantasy, the real thing. And here's where the book's advice actually earns its keep. Marcus is terrified. Every instinct says walk away. This is a money pit, you don't know what you're doing. Rich Dad, Poor Dad's whole argument is that fear is the real barrier, not the numbers, that the poor stay poor because they let fear make the decision. Honestly, that part lands. Fear was Marcus's whole personality up to this point. So he signs. Shaky hand, cheap pen, closing table lit like a courtroom. It is genuinely one of the scariest things he's ever done. Scarier than the bills because bills are familiar. This is new failure on purpose. 2 weeks in, the water heater dies. A month in, the behind-on-rent tenant stops answering calls entirely. Marcus learns real estate isn't a spreadsheet. It's a part-time job wearing a landlord costume. The book calls this financial education. I call it a crash course nobody warns you is this hands-on. Here's my honest problem with this part of the book. It tells you to overcome fear and take action. Like courage is the missing ingredient. But Marcus needed a partner's credit score, a partner's savings, and frankly, a decent local market that didn't collapse under him. Courage didn't get him the down payment. Access did. That's the gap I keep coming back to with this book. It writes like anyone with enough guts can do what Marcus did. But not everyone has a friend with good credit, a bank willing to take a chance, or a housing market that isn't insane. Same guts, different zip code, totally different outcome. Still, 3 months later, after the tenant finally pays up and the new water heater's installed, the numbers actually work. Not big money, a couple $100s a month after everything, landing in an account Marcus didn't have to work an extra shift for. It's not enough to quit the badge and the lanyard. Not close, but it's the first dollar Marcus has ever made that didn't come from his own 2 hands showing up somewhere. And that, more than any lecture about assets and liabilities, is the moment the book's idea stops being theory for him. So here's my verdict on this stretch of the book. The take action, beat your fear message, genuinely motivating, and Marcus needed to hear it. But if you're starting where Marcus started, do not skip the chapter the book never wrote, the one about credit, capital, partners, and luck. Courage gets you to the table. Somebody still has to let you sit down. Marcus takes the duplex numbers, tapes them to his fridge, and does something new. He starts treating Saturday like a shift he actually owns. He digs through his garage, finds a box of old power tools and a game console nobody plays, and lists them online before lunch. By Sunday night, the console's sold. The drill set sold, and Marcus has $40 more than he started with and a weird little buzz he hasn't felt from his day job in years. It's not the money, it's that he made it happen instead of clocking in for it. Here's the idea the book is actually onto: mind your own business. Your job title is not your business. Your assets are your business, even if that business starts as a folding table of junk on a Saturday morning. Marcus starts doing it every weekend. Thrift store finds, flip tools, a couple of bikes he fixes up in the garage. Small stuff, but it's cash flow he built with his own hands, not a raise somebody else decided to give him. A few months in, the flipping side hustle is actually making steady money. Not huge, but steady, and Marcus's buddy at work, the one who does taxes on the side, tells him, "Form an LLC, you're leaving money on the table." So Marcus goes down the rabbit hole. The book is famous for corporations, write-offs, paying yourself last, the rich use the tax code, the poor just pay it pitch. And on paper, it's compelling. Here's my honest take. Kiyosaki isn't wrong that corporate structures shift how income gets taxed. He's wrong, or at least sloppy, about who that actually helps first. An LLC is a legal shell. It only saves you real money once there's real income and real expenses flowing through it: inventory, mileage, a home office you can actually justify. Marcus, flipping bikes for $400 a month, is mostly paying filing fees to feel like a businessman. That's my problem with this part of the book. It talks about corporations like they're a beginner move, a hack anyone can grab on day one. In practice, it's a tool for people already running enough business to need the shelter, not a shortcut that makes the business bigger. Marcus files the LLC anyway, cheap enough in his state, and he treats it like training wheels, a way to start thinking like an owner instead of an employee moonlighting. That mindset shift, at least, is worth the $30 filing fee, book or no book. What changes isn't his tax bill. It barely moves. It's how he looks at every dollar now. Is this an expense? Or is this me buying my own equipment? Is this a hobby? Or is this the beginning of the column Kiyosaki calls assets? So here's the verdict on this stretch of the book. Mind your own business is genuinely great advice, and it costs nothing to start living it, like Marcus did with a garage full of junk. The corporation chapter, though, oversells itself. It reads like a beginner hack when it's really an advanced tool, and a lot of people buy the LLC before they've built the business that needs one. Marcus doesn't get rich off flipped bikes and a garage sale hustle. But for the first time, he's got a second column of income that's his, small, unglamorous, and completely under his control. And that, more than any tax trick, is what starts pulling him sideways out of the rat race. 5 years. Let's fast forward, because that's the only fair way to judge this book. Not by how it made Marcus feel on day one, but by what his life actually looks like now. The duplex is still ugly. It still smells faintly of someone else's cooking. But it's been cash flowing every single month, and the side business he started almost by accident now brings in steady money on top of that. Add it up, and those two things now cover more than half of Marcus's monthly expenses. Half. Not from a raise. Not from a promotion. From assets he built while still clocking in at his day job. He's not rich. Let's be honest about that. Nobody's buying a yacht here. But he's not one paycheck from broke anymore either. And that gap between those two sentences is the whole book in a nutshell. Remember his poor dad's voice? Go back to school, get a safer job, don't take the risk. That voice used to run Marcus's whole life on autopilot. It's quieter now. It still shows up, but it doesn't get the final word anymore. And here's what I have to give the book credit for: that shift in his head is the real product. Not the duplex, not the spreadsheet. The book sold Marcus a new lens before it ever sold him a plan, and that lens is what got him to actually buy the ugly building in the first place. So let's talk verdict, because that's what you came for. As a mindset shift, this book is genuinely phenomenal. It rewires how you look at a paycheck, a house, a liability, and for a lot of people, that rewiring is the only thing standing between them and starting at all. But as an instruction manual, it's thin. It never once tells you how to actually run comps on a duplex, structure a loan, or survive your first bad tenant. Marcus had to learn all of that the hard, expensive way. The book just told him the door existed. That's my honest complaint. It's long on philosophy and short on execution, and if you finish it expecting a step-by-step plan, you're going to close the book more excited and exactly as lost as when you opened it. So who is this actually for? It's for the Marcus at the very start of this story. someone stuck in the rat race, working hard, going nowhere, who genuinely doesn't know that assets and liabilities aren't just accounting words. For that person, this book is a legitimate wake-up call. But if you're already financially literate, already own a spreadsheet, already know what a cap rate is, skip it or skim it for the mindset chapters and go find a real how-to guide for the rest. This book was never built for you. Marcus, to his credit, didn't just read the book and stop. He took the one idea, make your money work instead of just working for money, and then went and did the boring, unglamorous work of actually buying, fixing, and building. The book gave him the compass. He walked the miles. So that's the honest verdict. Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad for the shift in how you see money. That part earns its reputation. Just don't expect it to hold your hand after that. It'll point you at the door. Whether you build anything on the other side of it, that part's on you, same as it was on Marcus.